Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, President Akufo-Addo touts achievements and insists he has successfully delivered on his mandate as he presented his final State of the Nation address to Parliament.
Mr. Speaker, the country is not broke, as some propagandists want us to believe. We are handing over the country with gross international reserves of almost 8 billion United States.
We have details as the NDC tears into the president's address.
Let me remind His Excellency, Honourable Speaker, that his tenure in office will remain a timely reminder of how not to govern the country.
But the majority side say posterity will judge the president fairly.
Posterity will be the utmost judge. And I repeat, soon and very soon, the Ghanaian people will see the true colors of this umbrella.
Also coming up, President Akufo-Addo pledges government support for traders affected by the fire that swept through and destroyed everything at a section of the Kantamanto market. Details as he delivers his final State of the Nation address.
Mr. Speaker, before I commence my message on the State of the Nation, I want to put on record that I am deeply saddened by the devastating fire at Kantamanto market, which took place yesterday.
More as affected traders of Kantamanto market fire begin rebuilding their stores in an effort to prevent authorities from redeveloping the market after thousands of shops were destroyed yesterday.
Because more we Ghana have a but Okwabusan was anybody do send Gumo, but it can't amount to any petty woman in any packet. But Ebia one you say Biamu Bessia more time and Nipa more emwa because for Sunyamani and Ton Momu.
Also ahead tonight, water crisis looms in Takwa as the Ghana Water Company Limited shuts down the Bonsa headworks plant over pollution caused by illegal mining, which is known as galam. And as we gear up for the Joy FM 90s Jam this evening at the Pleasure Gardens, we share how Joy News editor Fred Smith used to dance to the song Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice, which was a big hit back in the 90s.
It was fun, you know, and any moment to just mention Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice, something happens to me.
Also, how well can you sing Daddy Lumba's popular song Teresa in English?
Teresa. How do you say A in English? A. What is Teresa? Teresa, bad person.
We have details of these and many other stories coming up shortly. My name is Kenneth Gyasi. We begin from the House of Legislature, where President Akufo-Addo says he has successfully delivered on his mandate as he presented his last message on the State of the Nation. The president touched on a number of sectors he believes his government has achieved success in as he prepares to exit from office next week. Free SHS, security and the economy were among the big names. Now, Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante sat through proceedings and has joined me in the studio with details. Kweku, the president spent a pretty good time talking about the security of the country. Tell us more.
Well, yes, Kenneth, the president said in the wake of terrorist activities in the sub-region, his government has ensured that Ghana has remained largely peaceful through the very hard work that his government has been doing through the security chiefs.
The first responsibility of a government is the safety and security of the state and its people. I'm happy to report that our country's territorial integrity is intact and all our borders are secure. In a neighborhood of widespread instability, it is no longer an assumption that we can make that our land will be safe and secure. Ghana, by the grace of God, remains the only country in the neighborhood that has not fallen victim to terrorist violence. It has taken a lot of concerted effort, and dare I say a lot of money, to enable us to protect our country from the ravages of the variety of terrorist groups operating and destabilizing other countries in the neighborhood. I wish to pay great homage to the security services and their ministerial leaders for the work they do every day to keep us safe.
Well, Galamsey was perhaps the biggest issue under his presidency. What was his account?
Well, the president recounted in 2020 in his claim his government's fight against illegal mining led to the loss of some seats. That claim that the government has been repeating, particularly post the 2020 election. He said that all must come together, even as he leaves office, to work very hard to ensure that Galamsey is defeated.
In my inaugural speech at my swearing in my first term on 7th January 2017, and early on in that term, I made a public commitment to tackle galamsey, the phenomenon that had been ravaging our environment and destroying our lands and water bodies in the pursuit of mining our gold. I knew and was very much aware that fighting galamsey was not a universally popular position for a president to take. But I felt strongly enough about the need to protect our environment to say I was prepared to put my presidency on the line in the defense of our lands and water bodies. And indeed, Mr. Speaker, the fight against galamsey led directly to the loss by my party of several parliamentary seats in the 2020 elections. And to the makeup of this 8th Parliament, which affected the implementation of my policy agenda and impacted the second term of my presidency. I welcome the many loud converts to the fight against galamsey that suddenly appeared in the run-up to the 2024 elections. And I pray that more and more of us get to embrace the need for the protection of our lands and water bodies.
Well, then there's free SHS, which the president has been touting as having transformed the country's education sector.
Well, yes, Ken, free SHS is arguably this government's biggest program that it has implemented since 2017. The president is clear in his mind what transformative agenda that program was and how exactly it has shaped this country's future.
Mr. Speaker, if arguments still rage over what there is to show for the fight against galamsey and the effects of irresponsible mining, there can be no such arguments about the introduction of the free SHS and free TVET programs. Another policy that did not have universal approval when I sought to introduce it on coming into office. However, I believe this is one of the rare occasions on which we can use the word transformational without any danger of abusing the word. We have transformed education, and there can never be a reversal, of the fact that some 5.7 million young people have gained access to secondary education.
Well, the president also made a very bold statement that Ghana is not broke.
Mr. Speaker, the country is not broke, as some propagandists want us to believe. We're handing over the country with gross international reserves of almost $8 billion United States dollars. This is more than the $6.2 billion United States dollars of gross international reserves my administration inherited in 2017. Economic growth. The noise will not shut out the statistics. And I intend to put the statistics on the record of Hansard, no matter the amount of noise.
What were the reactions of the leaders in the House? Well,
so on the floor, Emmanuel Lama Kofi-Boa in fact started and said President Akufo-Addo's governance is the clearest indication of how not to govern a country. And then we heard from the majority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, whose opinion was that the posterity will actually judge the president very fairly.
Mr. President, you left something very important in your account. You left out an account of your promise to God to build him a cathedral. Mr. President, Let me remind His Excellency, Honourable Speaker, that his tenure in office will remain a timely reminder of how not to govern the country. But let me also be quick to assure the good people of Ghana that hope is on its way. In President John Dramani Mahama and the NDC. Today, all those who could not get free SHS benefited from it when Akufo-Addo assumed office. Mr. Speaker, TVET was also implemented for those who are placed at the lowest ebb of fortune's wheel to also get advantage of getting technical education. This is it, Mr. Speaker. Posterity will be the utmost judge.
Well, Kuku, you also spoke to the former minority leader, Haruna Idrisu, who was not at all enthused about the president's performance.
Well, yes, according to Haruna Idrisu, it appears the president wants to put the responsibility for the failures of his government on other persons instead of chastening them, if he could use those words, and saying that I take complete responsibility for, quote unquote, the messes of my government.
You have a limited tenure, and he's exercised his mandate in the last 8 years as President of the Republic of Ghana. What Akufo-Addo has done cleverly today is to share what he describes at his level as his proud record, but is a missing link of a puzzle, which record have so been rejected by the Ghanaian people. So there is something more that we all need to interrogate, that something probably went wrong. Whilst he is eulogizing his achievement, but at least he was sincere to admit that he's leaving a debt of 761 billion behind when he inherited 120 billion. So Ghana today, an enduring resilient democracy in a fragile economy of disappointed Ghanaians, trusting that John Dramani Mahama will come and end their hopelessness and despair.
Well, let's get onto the telephone lines now and have a conversation on the back of the president's State of the Nation address. He made he touted a lot of his achievements in the economy and the educational sector. Let's start with Professor Patrick Gumin, who is an economist joining us right now. Thank you very much for your time this evening. The president famously said that the country is not broke and that he's leaving behind gross international reserves of $8 billion compared to just $2.5 billion when he took over power in 2017. Is the country broke or not?
Good evening and good evening to listeners, and thanks for having me. I'm quite surprised to hear the president saying the country is not broke. The country is very broke, and if you country where you get to the point where you can't pay your debt and you go and ask people to forgive you part of your debt, then you are broke. Or if you have a country where you spend more than you collect in revenues and you have to always look for support from elsewhere to the extent that you have to submit to the rules of the IMF to do things that you ordinarily wouldn't do, you are broke. But I think we don't even need to go that far. Just cast our mind the last 2 months, the last 2 weeks. We heard of how WAEC had to struggle to get the finance ministry to release less than 150 million cedis for them to just complete marking of examination scripts. Or I'm sure you probably know that service persons are struggling are being owed in arrears. These are young people who are serving the nation, and they take mega amounts, and yet we are struggling to pay. So if really the country is not broke, and we are not making these commitments, I guess it's probably just wickedness on our part that we are not fulfilling these requirements. So I have no idea why the president will use gross international reserves as evidence that we are not broke. Because, you see, the $8 billion that he's referring to, it gave us $3.5 3.5 months of import cover. Now, I just made a quick check. At the end of December 2016, our gross international reserves was actually just upward of 6 billion. It was also, guess what, 3.5 months of import cover. So I don't, even based on his own information given, if we were using the months of import cover, what the previous administration left is exactly the same 3.5 months of import cover as his $8.8 billion. So I think the president appears to be focusing on the growth indicator for 2024, the first 3 quarters, which shows that the growth has been higher than expected. But then again, there are other sources of data released by the Ghana Statistical Service that shows that all is not well with the economy. We know, for instance, some data showing weaknesses within the labor front. The number of youth who are neither in employment, education, or training has been increasing. The labor market has been weak.
Okay.
And we also know the issue about rising food costs, food inflation. So I think that if we put all of these data together, the economy hasn't recovered, and the Ghanaian economy is definitely broke.
Right. Professor Patrick Gumin is an economist. Thank you very much for your time. Let's now speak to Dr. Peter Anti-Pate, who is the Executive Director of the Institute for Education Studies. Dr. Anti, welcome to the show. The President touted his achievement in the education sector, and of course he mentioned the fact that 5.7 million young people have gained access to secondary education. He also said the students' performance at WASI and BECE levels have improved significantly. What's your overall assessment of the President's performance in the education sector within the last 8 years?
Well, I think he's done well. He's done the best that he could. Yes, free SHS have opened doors to many students. We've been able to improve access. More importantly, TVET education have been rebranded. Their certification process have been restructured in such a way that now you finish your technical education and you can still go to your technical university. So in that respect, you can say that the president have done something very substantial. But the fact that free SHS have been implemented doesn't mean that we should exaggerate on some of the data that we are working with. And I have a problem with that because most of the decisions and most of the plans that we do around this policy hinges on the data available. It beats my imagination that the president is saying that by his own understanding, if not for free senior high school, 5.7 million students will not have accessed secondary school at this time. It beats my mind. It means that without free senior high school, nobody was able to access senior high. Without free senior high school, nobody was able to access senior high school, which is very, very not true. And more importantly, that number is even false. It's not accurate because you agree with me that we have challenges with data in this country. So yes, normally when you are doing some of these things, you do data triangulation. So you check data from WAEC, those who have sat for BEC. That data is around 4.3. If you check school placement, those who have been placed after BC, that data is around 3.4. If you check from the MS data, enrollment for the period 2017 to 2024, that data is around 4.3 million. So each data point that you look at, it does not get close to the 5.7 the president is talking about. Even data from the Ministry of Education puts this around 3.1. So I personally do not understand the over-exaggeration of the number of students that have benefited from the free senior high school. I think that has got a bearing on how we are planning and budgeting for the policy. And that is why technically we have challenges even in terms of funding the policy because the data is not accurate.
Okay, Dr. Peter Anti-Pate is the Executive Director for the Institute for Education Studies. Thank you very much for your time this evening. And following yesterday's devastating fire that destroyed thousands of shops at Kantamanto Market, affected traders have quickly begun rebuilding their stores in an effort to restore their livelihoods. The Ghana National Fire Service successfully extinguished the fire yesterday after battling the blaze for approximately 12 hours. Speaking to Joy News, some traders cautioned authorities against any plans to redevelop the market, vowing to resist such moves. Collins Frimpong reports.
The fire that started at 1:20 a.m. on Thursday, according to Kantamanto Traders Association, affected over 7,000 shops and approximately 30,000 traders, claiming one life. The National Fire Service battled the blaze for over 12 hours before successfully extinguishing it. However, less than 24 hours later, traders have already started rebuilding their shops in a bid to prevent authorities from redeveloping the area.
So he has been selling here for more than 32 years, 32 solid years that he has been here selling second-hand clothing. So they are pleading with government to come to their aid. According to him, when it happened in 2013, government supported them. They are not expecting anything different. They don't want new shops. They don't want anything. All that they are pleading is that they want government to support them and also build their structures themselves. They don't want any NGO. They don't want anyone to come here and come and build their structure.
But kakre betimi so aka ere atre abamu mpanimfo ene atitiri omo Ghana ha no say fine enye asi na emom de yetete ene ne enam esumase ene ne yebi aso no yagidi say enye sa nete but I say na pamo ho aha pamo ho because your baby a mo yedi mo odwa ena yen Ghana fo no so no yen your baby a yeto ya de ne baby yedi odwa because mo ebi wo Ghana ha bebre but wo kwa abusan wo se nipa dodo se ne gumo ho but Kantamanto eni pa ati wo mo ne nipa ketwa. But if you want to say, "Biamu besia mo acha many pa more emwa," because for sunia mani enton o mo because I dear jaw table so. I have no cry hende Ghana na the rakanta ha. Utimi the bo bra.
Yem pet 12 years in the a drew baby say fe ye begi ho na ban ya ma ye e beche. They say never die man na no pa me gina he. Nti ye nya baby 90 years na so. Na saba wo mo wabi o de bebo.
She is saying that they are here because of what has happened before. They don't want to wait for government or authority to come here and say that they are going to build stores or build structures for them. They are taking their own initiative, build up the structures, get back their lives.
The chairman of the Kantamanto Traders Association, Samuel Amo, is also urging authorities to assist the affected traders to rebuild their structures.
And the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, has pledged his government support for traders affected by the fire that swept through and destroyed everything at a section of the Kantamanto market.
Mr. Speaker, before I commence my message on the state of the nation, I want to put on record that I am deeply saddened by the devastating fire at Kantamanto market, which took place yesterday and has left many traders and their livelihoods in ruins. My thoughts and prayers are with those affected, and I extend heartfelt sympathy to the hard-working traders who have lost their goods and investments. Government stands with you and will work with relevant agencies to ascertain the causes of the fire and to provide the needed support. As a nation, let us unite in compassion and solidarity to help those who have suffered losses. Together, we can extend a helping hand to our fellow Ghanaians in need during this challenging time.
And Alex Kinate from the Ghana National Fire Service Public Affairs Unit noted that the unavailability of fire hydrants posed a significant challenge to firefighting efforts.
Well, we faced quite a lot of challenges. Accessibility was one. The good thing for us is that at the early hours when we came, accessibility wasn't too much of a problem, apart from the interferences from people. But as the day dawned, the morning came, accessibility became a problem because it became a busy day, cars coming in, the road getting blocked, every congestion happening, and then the fact that there was no functional hydrant within this terrain So we had to resort to traveling all the way to Farisco and then to GRE to go and replenish and come back. So you can imagine the distance from here to GRE at Circle and then being in traffic all the way coming back here again to fight the fire. It wasn't a mean job, so those are some of those, like, we don't have enough fire attendants in the system. It's a very worrying situation.
You heard Alex Kinate of the Ghana National Fire Service there. Now, residents of Takwa Township and surrounding areas in Ghana's western region face a possible water crisis following the shutdown of the Bonsa Hard Works treatment plant by the Ghana Water Company Limited. The plant, which supplies potable water to over 75% of the area, has been forced to close due to severe pollution of the Bonsa River caused by illegal mining activities, also known as galam. A statement issued by the Takwa District Manager of the Ghana Water Company Limited highlighted the dire situation, emphasizing the inability to extract and treat water due to the extent of contamination. My colleague Kojo Brace joins me in studio with excerpts of the statement. Kojo, what's contained in that statement?
So the statement is signed by Wisdom Do Akoto, who's the district manager for the Ghana Water Company Limited in Takwa. He says, "We are sorry to announce that Bonsa Headworks that produced 75% of potable water to Takwa Township and some environs have been shut down due to massive galamsey activities on River Bonsa, making it difficult to abstract for treatment. We have tried all that we could, but no avail, hence the shutdown. The river is still being monitored for acceptable parameters to enable us restart production, and until then, the plant remains closed. We promise to update the public for any development with regards to the current situation."
Thank you, Kojo. In a related development, convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Ken Ashigbe, has expressed the urgency of implementing the Anti-Galamsey Pact to address the crisis and prevent further environmental degradation.
We signed a pact with 8 of the presidential candidates. So we have a pact with the president-elect. And we are going to hold him to that particular one. And we believe that he signed it knowing that he actually was going to deal with that. So as we talk about the committee that has been set up, the oral committee that has been set up, another one that has to be done is everybody who has been involved in the pillage, in the pollution, in the killing of Ghanaians, in the poisoning of Ghanaians. We need to make sure that these people pay for their crimes. And most importantly, we need to make sure that the rot will stop. There's several things that the president-elect had talked about, that nobody in his government was not going to allow them to be involved in. Those are things that we're going to hold him to. And as Ben said, we're going to work with him to ensure that we can save our country from that. But I think that what the lesson all of us as Ghanaians should learn is the fact that we should not surrender the governance space to only the political class. The way we saw over 50 organizations rise up, we need to see that in every part of government.
Away from illegal mining, let's talk about education, because some senior high schools in Accra have reopened amidst growing uncertainty as the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools warns it cannot guarantee meals for students. Now, this follows unresolved financial issues, including unpaid government reimbursements for perishable foods from last year. My colleague Jacqueline Ansuma Yaboa visited some schools and his father's report.
Despite a strong appeal from CHAS to Ghana Education Service to reconsider reopening schools until these issues are resolved, students across various senior high schools in Accra reopened today. Today is 3rd January. I'm currently at the Dogono Senior High School, visiting some other senior high schools in the area to find out if indeed schools are still reopening. And lo and behold, we have some of the students still reporting to school. So let's get to speak to some of the parents around who are bringing their wards to school.
We are on the platform, so they confirmed it. So that's why I brought her. Yeah.
Regardless, have you made any preparations in case of anything? Because they said when the students come to school, they might not be able to feed them. Did you put in any plans for that?
Oh, I know they will do that. So I didn't have any second thoughts about it.
I mean, put in extra preparations.
Oh,
anything?
I gave her the normal things I used to give her.
What happened was I heard everything, but my daughter called me to inform me that this is the problem that experience in the school. So I used to send her money, every weekend, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. And concerning the reopening, I got the information recently that they said the school is be reopened on the 7th. But I got another message from the school WhatsApp that the school is supposed to be reopened this morning, which is on the 3rd.
In case of food and everything, you've made sure that she has everything that she needs.
Yeah, and
she's not being fed.
Yeah, and we agreed that every 2 weeks I have to send her some money.
Let's head to the Ashanti region now, because the Ashanti East Regional Superintendent of the Assemblies of God Church, Reverend Dr. Emmanuel Kenneth Gyasi, is calling on Ghanaians to support government policies aimed at restoring the country's economy. Speaking during a crossover service, he noted that the expectation of an improved economy requires more than government initiatives, stressing that it demands active participation and commitment from the citizenry.
Clad in white, many filled church auditoriums to usher in the new year. To some people, the previous year was characterized by economic hardship, negatively affecting their standards of living. In lifting the hopes of many who made it to the Lighthouse Central Assemblies of God for the crossover service, Reverend Dr. Gyasi believes efforts to revive the economy will have to be supported by the citizenry.
So we need to think about the nation, love the nation, die for the nation, pay our taxes. Everything that we need to do, we must do. And if you do it, I believe as some of the countries are developing, our nation can also be developed.
Well, still in the Ashanti region, while many in the country welcome the new year with a traditional church service, a group of young men at Adwato in Kumasi are taking a different approach. They have introduced a unique way of ushering in the new year by hosting attire parties, a celebration centered around the enjoyment of locally brewed tea. For these young men, sipping the aromatic tea symbolizes washing away the troubles of the previous year, offering them a fresh start and a moment of reflection in a relaxed social setting. This unconventional celebration has been gaining traction in the community. Interestingly, this year's event had the backing of an unexpected supporter, the pastor of a local church who provided sponsorship for the party. John News' Nana Yaojima caught up with the organizers of the event to learn more about the initiative, which continues to draw interest and participation from both locals and visitors.
On a small coal pot, the herbs for the locally brewed tea, popularly known as attire, boiled. One of the gentlemen, in an attempt to get the tea boiled faster, is fanning the coal pot. This time, the gentlemen have different flavors for the brewing of the tea. Leader of the group, Omono Asamoah, takes us through the ingredients for the night.
Sometimes there are no flavors. No, see a change.
This is hibiscus flower for flavor. Also, we have blended ginger with some spices here as well. Here is a kettle for the brewing of the tea. We have the tea leaves here as well.
This year, the group intends to host others who had crossed over into the new year in the church at their attire joint. Already, the young men have cut plastic water containers to be used to serve people who will honor their invitation to the party. Few meters from the tea stand, a part of the group are busily stirring a pot of soup to be served with the tea. It is the first time meat will be served with the locally brewed tea. Mr. Asamoah explained.
Well, the hour countdown to the Joy FM 90s Jam has officially begun, and the anticipation is at its peak. Tonight at 8 p.m., the Pleasure Gardens in Jolu will come alive as we relive the electrifying era of the 90s, with DJ Black spinning some of the greatest hits of the decade. One track that's sure to get everyone on their feet is Ice Ice Baby by Vanilla Ice, a song that defined the start of the 90s in style. Released in 1990, Ice Ice Baby was a groundbreaking hit that took the world by storm, becoming the first rap song to top the Billboard Hot 100. Joy News editor Fred Smith, born in the 70s, vividly remembers the impact of the song. As someone who embraced the 90s music scene, Fred shares fond memories of dancing to it and how the track became an anthem for a generation.
That's when we were in JSS, what they call JHS now, and during break time, we, the young guys, will come together to play some music on the tape, and we dance to it. You know, that's where we're just coming out of the Michael Jackson era, and so we just dance with our trainers on. You know, it was fun. It was fun. You know, and in a moment to just mention "Ice Ice Baby" by Vanilla Ice, something happens to me.
Well, also, how well can you sing Daddy Lumba's popular song, Teresa, in English? Raymond Dakwa has the answers.
I'm an ungrateful person if I don't praise you. Teresa, Teresa. How do you say A in English? A. What is Teresa? Teresa, Teresa. Teresa, Bloopers. Teresa, Teresa. I'm done, right? No, this house is coming. So as Nana is alive, I will never starve. No, this one I will not go thirsty. If I ask for water, she will bring me alcohol. Oh yes. When people do good things, they deserve. Not. I should be singing it. Not okay. I think that's where the problem is. That's where the problem is. You are rapping it instead of singing it.
No, the English version is a bit tricky. That's the problem.
Okay, so you want to sing it in Chi? Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Man, you are ya. Onyana miyayo. Bonyaya for him. Temamodia. Teresa Bebrese. Teresa. Obieni what is say wo. Teresa Bebrese. Teresa. Obieni what is say wo. Lumba is very upset.
Oh no, we agree that I've done very well. Well, some of our top DJs who will be behind the turntables, DJ Black and Andy Dosty, have been sharing what you should expect at the event. And of course, be sure to catch the event at Pleasure Gardens in Jolu at 8 p.m. Don't miss it. You can grab your tickets at the gate if you haven't already. That's it for now. My name is Kenneth Gyasi. Have a good evening.